Hey everyone, this is Women's Wrestling Talk Podcast, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet. This is the NXT After Show. We're going to be talking about Thea Hale versus Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's Championship, plus Carmelo Hayes versus Baron Corbin, the Lone Wolf, for the NXT title. Stick around.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet.
Hello everyone, how are you today? We have a special guest. One of the OGs of the NXT After Show is back to give some. I know she's going to do a lot for Gigi's match. But here is the amazing Stephanie Hardy. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here on this special NXT after show because this was Gold Rush, right? So I'm really happy to be brought on here. I know Katrina couldn't be here because she is, preparing for her Women of Color in Wrestling panel for Florida SuperCon. So when she asked me to do it, I was like, of course I will. So here we are, and I'm happy to be on here with you, reunited with you, to talk about everything that's been popping off lately. Like, it's just been some really good stuff.
It has been really, really crazy, but for the better. Like, I really think that people are now starting to wise up to, NXT. Things that we already were privy to, but I guess everyone else need to get a little on the head,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's really great to see people turning the corner and just sort of realizing that NXT really has always been operating on all cylinders, but they sort of fell off with it because of changes and stuff. But when it comes to change, you have to adapt to it. And that's definitely what we're doing now in this iteration of wrestling, and an incredibly life-changing weekend on the horizon. You got to see who really is, locked in to be the future. So I'm really excited to get into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, this is definitely a good week. So I'm ready to get into it. NXT Gold Rush week 2. So we started out very hot, actually. Let me get this up here. I love this picture. So we have Tiffany Stratton, the current NXT Women's Champion, versus Thea Hale. When you first saw that this was going to be a match, that, like, when it was set, like, what was your feelings?
Yeah, my feelings about this was really surprising because to me, it's like you had the idea of Dana Brooke coming back. So I thought for sure maybe Dana was going to like win the battle royal to be the number one contender because she made her return, but that wound up not happening. And then at first I also thought maybe Cora would have won, but she didn't. And now we have Thea here, and it's just insane because she's just so young and she's just finding her, way through. But it felt like it was just yesterday when she chose Chase U over LSU and Alabama, and now here she is as the youngest number one contender in WWE history. So it's pretty surprising stuff, but it's really great because she is talented and she's been working on her craft. So I was really surprised at this, but I was okay with it too.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. Especially like my thing with like Tiffany is I feel like she has such a great grasp on her character, and the in-ring is like, every week it's coming up there. And Thea as well. Like, she is fully, I think these two are some of the like two like top people that really have a hold on their character work. And it's just the in-ring that's like, getting up there, but they're solid as heck. They are.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. I love that you call her Cher Horowitz, Joseph. Like, it just literally tickles me. I can't.
Yeah, that's really funny because she said one of her character inspirations wasn't Cher Horowitz, but it was Sharpay Evans from High School Musical, and I really loved that.
I could actually see that, even with the voice as well. Yeah, I could totally see that because Cher's voice was a little bit lower pitched. Yeah, no, this is definitely a decent match for sure. There was a lot of shenanigans, but let's get into it. So right away, We have them both locking up to start. Thea gets a roll up, then a backslide, then goes for a Kimura lock. It kind of seemed like Thea was really trying to wrap this up quickly, which is, obviously the best way to go about this. You want to get this done. You don't want to give her more time to kind of gear up, because that's the thing with Tiffany. I don't think she's like a quick right away person. She's like the more time she's in, she just kind of builds up. So trying to finish it early is a great idea. We then had Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak, who came out, as you can see over there in that little corner, you see Drew. And at first I thought, support, but obviously, Thea keeps going for the Kimura lock, like throughout the match. Like, she definitely was trying to wrap this up. Then she gets a lot of offense in the early goings of this match with multiple arm drags, then tosses Tiffany outside the ring. She tried to go for like a high risk move, but Tiffany kind of scouted it and tripped her legs up from under her and then hit a painful clothesline. I mean, my goodness. Tiffany starts getting momentum and hits a brutal double stomp for a pin attempt. After that, Tiffany hit a sit-out powerbomb for a pin attempt as well again. Thea started to gain momentum again, and then hit the Chase U stomp, which I always thought was so cute. Followed by a senton for a pin attempt. Charlie tried to pull the ropes back from Tiffany in front of the ref. In my mind, I'm like, Charlie, what is the game we're playing right now? And so Thea obviously wants to confront them because it's like, you're clearly ruining this for me. Thea locks in a Kimura lock while Drew was distracting the ref. Tiffany tapped, but unfortunately, the ref didn't see it, so it ain't happened. After that, Tiffany got a roll up for the win, and Tiffany Stratton is still the champ. What were your thoughts? And then also, I mean, obviously, Charlie and Drew start attacking Duke after, which prompts the return of Andre Chase. Finally, some order is in the court again. That's what we need. And then they beat up Charlie and Drew as they should. But yeah, like, what were your thoughts on everything that went on?
This match was very technically sound, and I appreciated seeing everything that Thea has been learning. Of course, on screen, we saw her, training with Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey as well. But it looked like she really has been improving her game in the ring, in real life as well. So seeing that was just really cool. I was just like, come through, Thea. Like, I was really happy for her and her performance. And Tiffany really did a good job too, athletically. Like, I'm never bored when I see Tiffany in the ring. She's really good. But at the same time, you can't deny the fact that she really did tap out, and I wonder what would have happened if it wasn't, if it wasn't for Drew and Charlie trying to, interfere and stuff like that. Like, we would have the youngest women's champion ever in history. Like, it's crazy because even on Twitter, Thea was like, Tiffany tapped out. And we saw it in the replay. But the ref was distracted, and Tiffany wound up, winning in her crafty little way and still being the champion. And I saw Joseph in the comments saying that he was surprised that they didn't let Thea win because she's the youngest. And yeah, that is true, because that is, WWE is really big on stats and facts and stuff like that. But I feel like it has to be a little bit more purposeful. And considering NXT is in a rebuilding stage right now, and Tiffany just won the title, I just didn't see her, winning right now. But that's not to say that she won't ever win it later. Thea could very well be champion, at a later time, but it's just not right now because they're still building Tiffany as the new face of their women's division as the champion. So it's not really a knock to Thea just because, she lost this time, because she does have time and she's still really young in comparison to a lot of people. So I loved this match. It was really good. And I loved seeing Andre Chase return as well, because I had been missing him a whole lot. And Duke Hudson, he tried to be a good TA, but he wasn't Andre. So I'm glad Andre finally did come back to defend Thea after Drew and Charlie were fussing at her. And I'm just like, how y'all gonna fuss at her? She did what y'all taught her how to do, and y'all are making her seem like she was the one who messed up. And I'm just like, no, y'all were the one who were trying to cheat for her. It was sad. how they were blaming her for their mistake. So I'm glad Andre came in and defended her, along with Duke still staying along and defend with Chase U and defending him as well. So this was a really great match and a really great segment. I loved it.
Yeah, no, definitely. You broke it down so well. And honestly, Charlie and Drew, like, stay out of women's business. Honestly. And Roderick, I don't know if I could agree with that. I feel like there are some differences between Eva and Tiffany. I think, yeah, I definitely feel like there's some differences for sure. I see a lot of potential in Tiffany for sure. Like, I really do. But this. We had a segment after this match. Ilya Dragunov had a video package about, what is it? I'm so bad with pronouncing. Please, Unbisigbar. I can't. Jeez. He's basically saying don't try him, and he could take all types of pain. And yeah, that's it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I knew Ilya was able to take pain when he stepped up to Gunther and fought him twice for the NXT UK title and then wound up winning it the second time. Like, that's when I knew he was a man that did not mind taking a little pain and bumps and bruises in order to get done what he wanted to get done. So honestly, this didn't surprise me at all. It just makes me wonder exactly who he's going to fight next to actually do that to him at some point. So I don't know, but either way, I just feel like Ilya is just a really strong competitor, and he is really big on that strong style where if you hit him hard, it's gonna look like it's gonna hurt him, but he'll still take it in stride. So yeah, that's really all I could say.
Yeah, no, for sure. We also had another with Dana Brooke backstage. This is from last week. This was a last week clip. And she was icing her leg, obviously from the injury she got. And she was talking to Kalani Jordan. She's an up-and-comer who's so talented. She was in the Battle Royal that Thea Hale won. And I'm excited. So she basically is saying, because of our gymnastics background, she feels close to her. And they, are basically kind of saying they're going to maybe have a match at some point. And I would love to see that. I think that would be a great mix-up. And I appreciate Dana Brooke being down in NXT and just kind of, I wouldn't even say down, just being at NXT, because NXT ain't no down. Just being at NXT and helping to elevate, these, people who are, coming up. Like, I really appreciate Dana for that. And how do you feel about Dana being in NXT?
Okay, so I actually went into this on my own show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and listen to it if you already haven't. I absolutely feel that Dana Brooke being in NXT could very well give her a revitalization of sorts, in the sense that she could, have a new character or burn to something else. And her interacting with Kalani Jordan, who is just getting her start, having wrestled on Level Up and on the live shows that they do on the road and stuff, it's like that would be really cool to see them work together. However, I do see another scenario with Dana Brooke happening. If when it comes to character change, because I've heard people say that they feel like Dana would need to change up some things character-wise, but not necessarily athletically-wise, because we've seen her be athletically sound. Like, that's no question. But I feel that I could see a scenario where her and Kalani will start working together, or maybe they'll tag together or something, and she'll shake the table by turning heel and going bad guy on Kilani. And it would be a way for us to sort of feel a little bit sorry for Kilani as a newer babyface. So that would be something really interesting, because we hadn't really seen Dana Brooke stand on her own as a heel. We've only seen her be a heel alongside Charlotte Flair, like back in the day. We've never seen her stand on her own 2 feet as a heel. So if she were to do that in NXT and change up some things, that would be really cool. But I don't feel that her being there is the worst thing for her career at all, like some people feel like it might be. And I don't feel like she doesn't belong in NXT either. Like, I feel her there makes a lot of sense for where her career is now, because she's done everything she could possibly do on Raw, and she's been like a staple of Raw for a long time. So her being on NXT, can definitely work for her. A whole lot more once a lot of work is put into it. We just have to have patience with it. And I feel like that's a lot of people's problem. We aren't necessarily giving her the opportunity to grow organically into something. It's like, if it's not immediate, then we don't care. And honestly, there needs to be more. And yeah, I do see in the comments where Dana Brooke was with Emma before. Yeah. She was with her, and they were like a tag team that were heel, but at the same time, she wasn't by herself. So maybe we'll see more out of Dana in the future. But like I said, we have to let it cook first. You have to let it cook.
And I also feel like Dana was more seen as like the second hand to like helping them get wins, like not her own main self. I think that Dana is a really good, like, I kind of prefer her as a heel, to be honest. Like, I don't have a problem with her being a babyface, but I definitely prefer the heel side. I think she is in her element. So maybe that's something we get. And I think it would be a great rub to Kalani as well. So, why not? I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Big ups to Kalani too, because, if you may or may not know, she is her. So she's winning in life regardless. So yeah.
And you know what? Let me just talk about this. You know what, Himanshu? He mispronounces words that are like from our own language. I'm mispronouncing a word from a different language. So I have a little bit more slacked, okay, than bad guy, okay? And you can tell him I said it too. So
Okay.
we now
Shout out to Bad Guy Jack.
Yes, shout out to him. So we now have the tag match. We have Malik Blade and Idris Enofi versus Gallus, boys on top. I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted Idris and Malik to win because I feel like Gallus's reign so far has been kind of lackluster for me. I think they're really talented. It's just like, I don't know, the booking's been weird for me personally. But let's get into this match. So Malik starts off with Mark and gives a good offense for a good amount of time. And even when Wolfgang gets tagged in, he's still kind of keeping that control throughout the match. They were definitely using their speed. I think that Gallus was also kind of distracted because at this point, they still did not know where Joe Coffey was. They still were not privy to his whereabouts since Stax kidnapped him last week. And so I think Malik and Idris were definitely taking advantage of that. Idris jumped over on Mark's back and tagged Malik while bouncing back off the ropes, which I thought was very cool. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do something like that. I was like, you gotta show him. Gallus, they still seem very off. Like, I mean, it was crazy how much offense that Idris and Malik were getting. Idris then hits a knee to Mark, which Malik follows up with a frog splash for a pin attempt. We then had Angel Garza and Humberto watching from atop yet again. This is like the third time. Like, who's giving them these tickets? Wolfgang dropped Malik on the ropes throat first, which just looked awful to see. They start wearing Malik down because I feel like Malik was definitely kind of like that strong anchor this match, for sure. Personally, that's just how I saw it between the two of him and Idris. At some point, though, Idris did get a hot tag and starts firing off on both Wolfgang and Mark Coffey. Idris went for a move by jumping off the back of Mark, but I think he lost balance and he ended up falling. I don't know if that was intentional, or if that was an actual botch. I don't know. But he followed up. He recovered, got a spine buster for a pin attempt. Malik hit a shifted in midair frog splash, which I thought looked so great. Which Idris then followed up with an elbow off the top rope for another pin attempt, but Wolfgang breaks the pin up. Stax delivers a huge uppercut to Idris into the steel steps, then throws Idris into the ring, which causes Gallus to win. Gallus is just looking there, confused, staring at Stax. Why, excuse me, Mark, why didn't you ask him where your brother is? Like, where is the family loyalty? That's what I would have done. I'm not staring at this guy. I would have fought him. Where is my brother? I don't know. It was a little odd. But I definitely enjoyed this match. I thought it was cute. Like, I think the more we see of Idris and Malik, I think they're so talented and I want to see more of them. Like, hopefully this is the start of seeing more of them What were your thoughts on this match?
I love this match because, of course, you had, the different styles between the two. Because, the Gallus boys, they're really like hard hitters. And then they're also really, really big men. And they're not afraid of, knocking you out and stuff like that. But then you also have Malik and Idris, being like high flyers and, oh, Shay. Being high flyers and everything, and they really did show their prowess as a tag team. And it felt like anytime there was a moment where one member wasn't operating as well, they still utilized their partner as good as they, as well as they could, and they really did a good job. I was really rooting for them to win because stylistically, they are just so like cool. Like they're just so cool to me. And all I wanted was for them to win. But then there's a lot going on in the tag division. You have Gallus beefing with Tony and Stacks, but then we'll figure that out later. And then you also had Los Lotharios watching the match from on the top of the platform and stuff. And it's really like a whole lot going on. But the thing that I did not expect was Stacks coming out and ruining Idris and Malik's chances. I was just like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, this really wrecked me because the last time I checked, I thought that Tony and him were beefing with the Gallus boys and they were going to gun for the tag team titles, like maybe next if Malik and Idris didn't win. So this really shook me up. I was like, oh, what is this? So, and of course, we'll figure it out later, but I was just shook. But yeah, Gallus won, and I was kind of disappointed with that because as good as Gallus is as a tag team, even from their work in NXT UK, it's just like they do keep putting them in segments trying to make them more relatable to the US audience. It's just like for some reason they I guess maybe, they just don't immediately like pop out to me for some reason. I don't know what it is about them. It's just not, there's something not clicking with them a whole lot for me. So I was really hoping that maybe Malik and Idris, could upset them and win, but that wasn't the case because of shenanigans. So yeah, it's sad, but here we are.
Here we are. Here is where we are. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I honestly preferred Wolfgang more when he was with Mustache Mountain. You remember that? You remember that? It felt like a fever dream, right? We now have a backstage segment with Metaphor. Every time I hear this name, I love it. I just think it's really cool how they came up with it. Like, it sounds like it's so simple, but you know what? It works. But they can't add any more people, though, because it wouldn't make sense. Because there's 4 in it. Mackenzie was poking the bear because that man said he did not want to talk about losing the Heritage Cup, and she kept asking. But you know what? I respect journalism. You got to get the answers, But Lash Legend was not having it. And also, I loved how Jakara kind of called out Ronda and Shayna. I would love that. I would be I wouldn't say anything. You wouldn't hear nothing from me. You wouldn't hear me like, why did they take the titles off of Shayna and Ronda? No. Do it. You got the green light from me, I'm telling you. What did you think about her kind of calling them out? Like, it seemed like it could be a thing.
Yeah, this part relaxed me a little bit simply because of the fact that we got a little bit of an answer as to what the unified tag titles for the women could actually be utilized for. I was so happy because for a minute I was disappointed with the idea that they got rid of, well, not really got rid of, but just combined the women's tag titles together. I was just like, why? When you have these teams coming together, you have Jakara and Lash, you have Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. It's like you have all these possible teams that could come, and it's just like, I thought they were just going to get rid of them, but they haven't, as of yet, and they've just combined the titles together and unified them. So it makes me happy that the original purpose of the original women's tag team titles is being brought over, and and be revitalized again. I was like, thank God, because there are so many women in NXT if they wanted to go for the tag titles and they deserve that opportunity. So if Ronda and Shayna, considering a lot of main roster people are coming in and out of NXT, if Ronda and Shayna decided to stop by and fight Jakara and Lash, then that would be really good. So yeah, I was really cool with it, and I love the rhythm and the vibe that Jakara and Lash have with each other. Like it just makes sense to me. I like it a whole lot, and they just have it. They just have something that I can't wait to see them explore a whole lot more. And then it's just like you have Noam in there just being an absolute clown and them just co-signing it along with Oro Mensa, and it's just like, man, this is okay. Y'all are crazy, but y'all are entertaining, and now ultimately that's all that matters. Imagine being a new tag team and then cutting your teeth with a woman who revolutionized the UFC and her friend who, revolutionized combining MMA and wrestling together. Like, that's pretty sick.
Would you think that maybe this is something I'm throwing out and it's crazy? They would, since they combined the titles, would they also combine having main roster tag teams in the Dusty Classic?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know.
I thought about that. I'm like,
That's a good thought. I've never thought about that, but maybe I feel like that would be really good because you have Kevin Owens and Sammy, who have the undisputed tag titles and stuff, and it's like you have these other tag teams that are vying to have a chance at them, but then it would give the other tag teams something to do if they're not in a current program with them. That would be insane if they were in the men's Dusty Classic. I would love that. That's a great idea.
I would love it. Yeah, I hope they mull it over because I honestly feel like the draft was just something they did for ratings pop because they don't care about this thing because every 2 seconds, everyone's everywhere. Someone from SmackDown on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, like nobody cares about the draft. Does the free agents thing even matter? Like, it's like, come on. I don't know. I was really excited about the draft too, but it's like it took them 2 weeks to be like, I don't care. I don't care about this. But now we have the Schism family meeting.
Mm-mm.
This is mess. This is the mess and the tea that I needed. Ava, I honestly, she has such a soothing voice. Am I the only person that feels like her voice is so soothing when she talks like that? Like she could read me a book or something, and I would listen to all chapters. Like very soothing voice.
Yeah, I would listen to her too. I don't necessarily think her voice is soothing, but it's not. I mean, it's just she just really articulates herself really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like she really is. She has a very articulate way of speaking, and I love that. It's in the blood.
I will love it. I always get so thrown off whenever people say like Ronda Rousey and Shayna because obviously that's my name, so it just throws me off. I'd be like, I'm not doing anything. So so yeah, Ava is like, let's stop the violence, let's tie our bandanas together and like call a truce. Jagger is like, I'm over it because I was sold a dream. You said I was gonna be on top, and it has not been like that. Like the brochure was a complete lie, is basically what Jagger is saying. Joe said you're just mad because Rip never let Jagger speak. I was like, not wrong. And then Diamond Mine comes out, and they're all like, we're tired of you. I'm like, first of all, you came out here. But anyways, I get it. Ava definitely stole a win from them, so they have some beef. I get it. So we end up with now Joe is like, let's have a loser leaves NXT match. How did you come to this conclusion, Joe? This is why Jagger feels the way he does, because why would you say that? Why? Like, you're just setting me up for failure. And I'm a little bit like I feel like I know how this is gonna go, but then do we know? Because I feel like they know that we think we know, but they're gonna do something else because they think that we know that they know that we know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. I was not really expecting any of this. I mean, I know that they've been sort of, disagreeing a whole lot, but I didn't think they would disagree to the point of, fracturing like this, because Ava was just like, look, we have to come together. But honestly, the team formerly known as the Grizzly Young Veterans had a point. It just felt like a lot of the time, here lately they've been allowing Joe to sort of speak for them and all the above, but then at the same time, not really asking them how they feel about things, wondering what moves they should make. So honestly, I understand what their grift, what their rift is with Joe Gacy. So I just definitely wasn't expecting Joe to just say out of the blue, well, let's see, let's just throw you guys under the bus in this match that Diamond Mine could very well win, and then make the other team leave. Like, it's really crazy. I was not expecting any of this, but then it kind of makes sense given all of the rumors that we have been hearing, about the tag team that's in the dyad, and them possibly wanting to be released. So I don't know if this is how they go, or maybe they did, quietly reinstate themselves with with their contracts, or renegotiate their contracts. I'm not sure, but I am looking forward to seeing this, because Grizzly Young Veterans can definitely go. They were one of my favorite tag teams before 2.0 happened, and they had to change their characters around to fit that mold. But then you also have Diamond Mine, who's just always good and always young and hungry. So it's going to be a good tag team match, but I wonder what's actually going to happen with either them or Diamond Mine, because if Diamond Mine winds up getting called up, then I won't be mad about that either, because they're really talented and they've done a lot. So yeah, it's a lot to think about, but I do look forward to this match though.
I swear I pressed the button. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's gonna be a great match for sure. GYV is so underrated. Himanshu, you're so right. Because one thing Joe is gonna do, he's gonna eat a mic up every time. He's gonna
Yeah,
eat it up.
yeah, it was very painful to hear him say, to Rip that, look, at one time you didn't have your own voice. And that's true. He wasn't the one that was talking. It was always the one with the long hair that was talking,
Yep.
a lot of the time. So when you really think back, you had to like remember, and you're just like, oh my God, he's right. Um, so yeah, it was insane. But hopefully, they can figure it out, and we'll just see what happens from there.
Right. It feels like Joe trying to set them up on the low. We also let's just talk about some of these backstage segments. We had another video package for Lucian Price and Bronco Nima. I like it. They got a good look. It's a different like it's different, but it's not different. Like, it's something I feel like I'm familiar with this, but it's different for NXT 2.0. How do you feel about this tag team?
I feel, number one, they're very attractive. I'm sorry, I have to be real about it. Like, they're very attractive looking men, number one. And number two, I oh my God. There's something that just feels really organic to them. Like, these are some dudes that you really would run up on in the street somewhere. Like they really did, live this life the way that they were talking about. The like last week we saw them, playing dominoes, was it, or was it cards or something, outside,
I
as
think it was
kids.
Domino.
Yeah, and then they grew up, and then you saw them do that, and then now you saw them, playing football out in the street and talking about how they would practice, and how, in high school that was their thing to do or whatever. And so there's something organic to them that just feels very real, and they seem very rugged and big, and I like that. Like, I can't wait to see, and learn more about their story. I'm very intrigued by them. Like, I can't wait to see more of them and learn more about them, because they just feel really real. I like it.
Yeah, like authentic. Like, I get what you mean when you say that, for sure.
Hmm.
So let's see another backstage segment. We have Hank and Tank with Scripps and Axiom, and I don't understand why Scripps is basically stalking Axiom. Like, it's like you terrorize Axiom for weeks. Axiom beat you up, then you stopped. Then he got into something with Dabakato, and then you were like all up in his business. I don't know, you were trying to like make amends for harassing him for weeks for no reason. And now you're just always around. But can I also say, like, I feel like NXT Gold Rush Week 2 is very groundbreaking because Axiom was not wearing a turtleneck. And I was just so thrown off by this. I was like, I didn't even know he had other shirts that weren't turtlenecks. So it just really threw me off. I just felt like I needed to speak on that. But Axiom also congratulated Nathan Frazier, told him good luck, and we could see that he has unfinished business, and he's interested in that Heritage Cup title. So I called it title, whatever. Trophy. I meant trophy. I was gonna go with it. What did you feel about this little small segment going on here?
I thought it was interesting because Schism and Axiom, when the last time I was on here with you, I did say that I could see, how Axiom and Scripps could be a really good tag team if they put their stuff together because they're very evenly matched. So I was just like, I don't understand, why they keep having, this back and forth and these problems. And I'm just like, just be together. Like, figure it out and just be together because y'all have basically the same mind in the ring. So just do that. And even when they wrestled each other and had that tag team match, it's like I could see the writing on the wall. But at the same time, if Axiom is resisting it, then what can really happen with that? Now, when it comes to Axiom looking at the Heritage Cup title, because I still call it a title. It's easy for me to just say a title simply because, it's just a thing. But yeah, it's just, that was really interesting. And I feel like they would have a really good match with each other. Nathan Frazier, is great. So I feel like him and Axiom would really have a good showing with that because it reminds me a few months ago of how they had a back and forth rivalry with each other. And their matches was one of the best matches I'd ever seen on NXT television. So if they were to do it again, they would be really great for that title. So it would be really good. I like the idea of seeing them fight each other again because the last times they fought, it was really intense and very heated. But either way, it was fire. So we get to win with that. So it's great.
True. Very true. We do get the win. Another backstage segment we had was Carmelo and Trick. They were backstage. Well, Carmelo Hayes was getting himself ready for his big match later on. And Rhea, she kind of walks up and she's like, stay out of my business. I'm wondering why it was specifically Rhea who came down. I guess Finn was like, I'm not coming back down because they disrespectful down there. I don't know why he said I'm good. I already came back last week. I wonder why it was Rhea, but I like the little pop-up from her. What were your thoughts on this little small segment of just Trick basically hyping Carmelo up, saying, Baron ain't got nothing on you, which we know.
Yes.
He stated, but we know. What did you think about this?
Well, I loved it because, of course, I always love Trick. I'm part of Trick Mellow Gang forever and always. And like I was telling you earlier off camera, I felt spoiled this week because I got to see Carmelo on Raw and him make his debut in such a beautiful way. And he made his debut with the title on him. It wasn't like back in the day when they would have people come up from NXT and they would still be champion and they would have them leave their titles, after a certain point. They presented him like he was a deal. Seth, of course, thanked him for helping, and he had his match with Finn. And yeah, Finn won fair and square because he needed that momentum heading into Money in the Bank this weekend. But, Carmelo did a good job, with that. So it didn't surprise me, but it made me happy because I was like, whoa, it's Rhea because you weren't expecting it, right? But then at the same time, it didn't surprise me either because she'll get in anybody's face. She'll get in any woman's face or any man's face. And here lately, she's really been getting in a lot of men's faces. So to see her get in Carmelo's face and say, look, if you get in our business again, it's not going to be good for you. And I just had a thought while you were talking about this segment, considering Rhea is in Judgment Day and 3 out of the 4 members are NXT alumni. I just had a thought. Since Damian Priest is in the Money in the Bank match. What if he won and then went to NXT and cashed in on him? That would break my heart, but that's just a what if nugget just to put out there. In the comments, tell me if you guys would, if you guys, could imagine a scenario where that would happen. But yeah, Rhea, when she threatens people, she threatens people. So I don't know exactly what that could be, but I'm pretty sure Carmelo has his hands full with the NXT roster trying to come for him as the top guy. So I don't think he would get in Judgment Day business anymore. But if they really did want to pick on him like that, Damian could be Mr. Money in the Bank, even though LA Knight is my top choice. Damian Priest is my second choice. Like, he could win it. And then what if he went down to NXT and cashed in on him? That would be crazy, wouldn't it? But hey, it would be exciting.
I think that's unpredictable and cool. And I love unpredictability. Like, I feel like that's something that's so missing in wrestling. Like, you don't get it very often. I think that no one would expect that. So I'd be into it. And he never won it. So why not? Maybe he could say, hey, this is something that was unfulfilled that I want to, now get. So I'd be down for it. But we're like at the
Oh my God, Jeffrey.
What?
Jeffrey's comment just then. He said, considering your name is Stephanie, you would book that. Look, Jeffrey, I gotta tell you, Jeffrey, I can't tell you how many times I have booked wrestling matches in my head, like, or in my dreams. Like, it's insane. Like, sometimes I'll just be thinking to myself, I could be at work or just in line for food or be asleep and just think about ideas. Like, it's insane. Like, I don't know if I'll ever like be creative or something like that. If I work in wrestling long enough, maybe I could do that. I'm not sure. But I do be having crazy ideas a lot. Like, it's insane. But thank you for that compliment. Me and Stephanie McMahon, we would have a lot to talk about if that were the case. But thanks.
He would drop us some jewels, honestly.
Thank you.
Of course. So we've hit the middle mark. So I think it's a good time for us to play a commercial. We will be right back, guys.
Hey peeps, TK Trinidad here, boss lady of Women's Wrestling Talk. And I want to say thank you so much for watching, because you've got millions of options. Plus, you don't have to worry about sharing your password to check us out. But while you're here, hopefully you know we have so many more shows to watch, like Turnbuckle Glam, Raw post-show, WoW post-show, AEW Dynamite post-show, Women's Wrestling Army post-show, NXT post-show, Impact Wrestling post-show, AEW Rampage and SmackDown Live post-show, On the Scroll, ROH post-show, WWT Live, plus all of our interviews with the hottest women's wrestlers in the game. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our website at www.talkpod.com and follow us on all social media platforms at www.talkpod, and make sure to spread the word. That means send this to the group chat. Yes, even the person with the green bubble. Thanks again so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
And we're back.
Now it is time for the Heritage Cup match. Hello, welcome. We have
welcome.
There's donuts in the back as well.
Oh God, I wish. Welcome, AMR.
Welcome. We have the Heritage Cup match. Dragon Lee with Valentina Feroz and Nathan Frazier with Yulisa Leon. I really enjoyed this, and I really enjoy the concept of the Heritage Cup match. I just think it's different, and it's cool. And if you have the right people doing it, it is a lot of fun. And I definitely think Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier are definitely the right people. So let me, one second. Let me just pony shot real quick. Okay. Photo. There it is. Might I say, some luxurious hair there on Nathan Frazier. I just have to say, like, I'm jelly. So we start the match, 6 3-minute rounds, 20-second break between rounds, 2 out of 3 falls, you know. Handshake to start, obviously, because Dragon Lee and Nathan have been very close aligned the last few weeks in their dealings with Noam Dar and the Metaphor. So I like that. It's a lot of camaraderie going on here. First round, they were trading holds, both on the same wavelength, to be honest. Axiom came out to watch at one point, but then Scripps came out, and I'm just like, leave him alone! Like, I'm at my wit's end. Why are you here? You want to be around him all the time. I can feel the annoyed energy from Axiom. Do you want to be a tag team? We can talk about this another time. But if I want to stand out here and get a closer look at this match because I want the Heritage Cup, I will do that. And he could drag him to the back. That annoyed me. That annoyed me so bad because I'm like, Scripps, mind your business. So in the first round, nobody really got any control. So it ended up in a draw. Anyways. Second round, Nathan ran the ropes till hitting an impactful drop kick. Dragon Lee torques Nathan's leg on the ropes. It looked really nasty. Honestly, anytime anyone ever does that move, it looks nasty. Then we have him going for a I believe it's like a head scissors off the top rope, but then Nathan uses the momentum and gets a pin on Dragon Lee. I gasped from my home. We then had the next round. Dragon Lee dives over the top rope, lays Nathan out. They trade shots at one point, which ends with Dragon delivering a devastating kick to the back of Nathan's head, with Nathan promptly returning the same kick to the back of the head. That's Nathan calling me right there to say, hey, that's not what happened. Then Dragon hits a one-arm sit-out powerbomb, which I loved. It was everything. He gets a win with that. He gets a pin, so that was great. We're tied up now. Next round, we have Dragon hits a drop kick out of the corner, explosive. Nathan catches him with a crescent kick. Dragon knocks Nathan off the top rope and hits double stomps to the chest of Nathan. Nathan tossed Dragon into the corner. It was ugly. Like it looked very painful. I was very scared for him. Dragon hits another sit out power bomb, followed by Dragon trying to catch Nathan for a pin attempt. It was a cool, like, I can't even explain it. It was so cool. I don't think I've ever seen it like that. Nathan tries to as well get a quick little cheeky pin, but it was to no avail. We get seesaw pins, and I think at one point maybe there was some miscommunication, and then they redid the spot with the seesaw, and then that's when Nathan got the pin, and then we have Nathan Frazier, your winner. What were your thoughts on this match? I thought it was really fun and fast paced.
Yeah, it was really fast paced and fun. Like, it was really hard hitting. These guys were just going back and forth and back and forth and just hitting each other with the best that they had. Like, I was just like overwhelmed by how good that both of these men are. Like, I did see Dragon Lee at NXT Stand and Deliver in LA, and he even surprised me then. That was my first time seeing him, I think, live. Yeah, it was my first time seeing him live, and I was just like, yo, like, this guy is crazy. You know, we'll see him do big things, and this is a part of that. Like, he really could have won this cup if he wanted to, but you know, it just wasn't his way, and Nathan Frazier seems to be really serious about being the Heritage Cup champion. So it was a really great back and forth. I really enjoyed this match. So yeah, I really liked it. And I did see a comment from someone saying it was awkward seeing Yulisa and Valentina on different sides, but seeing as they lost their tag team match against Team Metaphor with Jakara and Lash, and also you have, like, with them competing in the Battle Royal, there seems to be some shakeup with them. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but yeah, it was kind of interesting seeing them apart from each other and sort of trying to, you know, serve as refreshing them, you know, in their corner. So yeah. Yeah, it didn't take that away from me. No.
Yeah, no, it was just kind of like a blip. But it was still a really great match, like as I expected it. You know, when you see those two names lined up, I'm not thinking, oh, this is about to be a terrible match, because it isn't. So we have some backstage segments. We get a video package for Raw Underground. I was not really ever a fan of that concept. How did you ever feel about Raw Underground?
I was a fan of Raw Underground. I actually did like it when it started because, of course, this was in the pandemic. And, when we were watching wrestling, during the pandemic, there was so much stuff creatively that they were trying to do to keep us interested because the world was shut down, and they were trying to keep it like refreshing regardless. So as a concept, I did like it. It felt like Fight Club. me and my boyfriend kept comparing it to Fight Club, and it was just a really different way to see people fighting in a new way. Like, I actually liked it. And when they got rid of it, it was just kind of random and we just never saw it again. I don't remember what happened to it, but I actually liked it as a concept. It was cool. But I wasn't really fiending for it to come back. So when they announced that NXT Underground was going to happen, I was like, oh, okay, here we are. All right. Yeah. And then when we did learn who is going to be participating in the first iteration of NXT Underground, it got even more intriguing too. But yeah, we just gonna have to wait and see.
I mean, yeah, the Braun Strowman Hurt Business stuff wasn't so bad. I don't know. I just felt like because they kind of scrapped it, it just made me not care much for it, because it was kind of like if you could just be like about it, it just kind of made me feel like, so why should I care about it if it's so easy for you to just be like, well, whatever. But they honestly did that a lot with a lot of things during that era. Like, that was a very chaotic era. Like, we need to do a documentary on that time. Like, honestly. We also have Eddy Thorpe talking to Gable Stevenson. I don't like that they're trying to make it seem like he's stupid, because Eddy Thorpe is not stupid. To not know that is his brother. Like, we're not about to play this game right now. They actually killing me. And he's like, oh yeah. And then Gable's saying stuff that's making it seem like, oh yeah, his family's gonna be right there. Like, stuff. He's giving him the clues. And Eddy is just not picking it up. And y'all are trying to make Eddy look stupid. He is not stupid. Then you're gonna ask him, you want to be in my corner? I said, oh my God. What are you doing? What are you doing? I know I'm gonna be like this watching this the whole time, because I already know what's happening. I already know what they're about to do. They're gonna jump him, and I'm gonna turn the TV off. That's it. I'm just gonna turn it off and not look, because how dare you? How do you feel about all this? Like, how do you feel about it? I guess NXT Underground returning. That's what we're gonna call it for now. And Eddy Thorpe acting like he doesn't know that that's clearly his brother.
I mean, maybe in this iteration of reality, because this is kayfabe, and Damon Kemp does not have the Stevenson name, at this point, so I feel like maybe there isn't like a 2 and 2 thing that he's putting together, and it's easy at first glance to not to, because you have Damon Kemp, who's been Damon Kemp for so long, and you have Gable Stevenson, who's been Gable Stevenson for so long. So they kind of separate. So I could understand that at first glance, you wouldn't put it together that these two are actually brothers. But, I didn't really pay attention to the clues that, he was dropping until you said that. So yeah, I'm glad you actually said that. But Gable turning on Eddy would be kind of sick, because up until now we haven't really seen that much from Gable outside of knowing that he was signed after he won the Olympics. And as amazing as that is, and he popped up, on Raw one time, and then he popped up at WrestleMania this year. Outside of that, we really haven't seen anything. So him in NXT would be a good place for him to start to acclimate more of, a fandom and other things like that. So yeah, I understand your stress levels about it, because of course we know on the outside, of life, that they are brothers, but in the kayfabe world, they might not be the whole brother connection thing. Like, I don't know. Like, we don't know if they're really going to fully acknowledge it, because I'm thinking if Damon acknowledges it, then wouldn't that mean he would have to change his last name? Like, I don't know. It's a lot to think about. But yeah, it's crazy. But we just got to see. But just don't stress out, Shay. Don't stress out.
But you know what? I'm sorry, because I'm like the person. I think too deeply into this. The diabolical teddy bear that is Damon Kemp would say, "Ha ha! I actually changed my name for this very thing." I swear, I feel like he would do this. Like, he gives me Mojo Jojo vibes. I'm telling you, he's gonna do it. He's gonna be like, "Ha ha! Look at you! You're tricked."
You know, it's so funny you said that. I really thought about, haha, I changed my name so you wouldn't know that he's my brother. My brother, who is my brother, wouldn't know this. And da 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 da. And da 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 da. Y'all know how Mojo Jojo used to do their monologues and basically be repeating the same thing over and over again. Y'all know.
I'm telling you, he's gonna do it. And you know what, Jeffrey? I did see that. He literally gave him bombastic side eye right at the end. He's like, I'm like,
criminal
oh!
offensive.
That's really what it was. I'm telling you, they setting him up. This is sick. How dare they set up my favorite DJ?
Lord Jesus.
So we have the next segment backstage. Wesley, Miles Bourne backstage. Free agent Ali. Why you play so much? This man plays so much. He's gonna come in the room like, you don't understand why Wes is looking at you like this. You're fast counting. You slapped him. Why did you slap him? Like, why are you that invested? You're a ref. You're slow counting, doing the most. And you just don't see it. And he says, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, well, thank you. That helps nothing. Tyler then comes in and he says he didn't call it right down the middle. And Tyler said, the outcome would have been different. Who knows? We will never know if the outcome would have been different because of Mr. Free Agent Ali doing the most. And I know he did this because he wanted to keep Wes. And honestly, Wes, why are you so trusting? You have to start cutting people off and blocking numbers because these people are running rampant on you, Wes. Like, honestly, I want better for you. I really do. So I think eventually they did announce that we're going to be getting Tyler Bate versus Mustafa Ali next week. That's going to be a match and a half. And I'm feeling not worthy to be watching it, actually. What were your thoughts on this backstage segment, though?
Ali is the king of being passive aggressive. He is a passive aggressive guy, and it's just coming out. Like, I feel like eventually, his more aggressive side is going to come out, and there's going to be a new level of heel that might pop out of him that I don't think we're really ready for. I'm scared. Like, I'm really scared. Like, I just don't know what's going to happen with him. I feel like he's just going to go crazy on the both of them and attack them to the point where we just don't recognize him no more. Like, oh my God. It's just going to be insane. And my thing is, if you wanted an opportunity at the title, why didn't you just say so? Why didn't you just say that, like, from jump, instead of being passive aggressive towards him and Tyler? Like, it's crazy. And then my thing is, why you got to do that to Wesley, who just has so much good energy? Like, he was inviting you into his orbit to be nice, and you're just treating him like he crazy. And it makes me say it, but either way, I'm still intrigued by it. So
I just have to speak on this because actually, all my faves are not all losing, okay? Is Jay White not undefeated in singles actions? How dare you? How dare you? My faves don't lose. We also have Robert Stone backstage looking. You know what? Now this is another one I'm about to get mad about. Von Wagner. It's either you want to open up or you don't. I can't take him seriously. He's a very unserious man with his responses sometimes. You're just sitting in a corner and you're like, the trauma. When he randomly yelled, the trauma. I'm like, Vaughn, this is supposed to be serious, but you're making me laugh. Why did you randomly yell out the trauma? Like, I can only take so much. 1 week you want to open up, the next week it's like, get away, the trauma. Vaughn, we're running out of time. You're a free agent. Eventually, you're going to have to pop up on Raw or SmackDown or do something besides being in the backstage screaming, the trauma. I'm done. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Von Wagner saga that is still going on?
You seem very upset. Number one. Number two. I actually talked about this on my show as well. I actually liked the segment where he opened up and talked about, why that picture existed. And how, that was a surgery that he almost, did not survive. I appreciated that so much, and I like the fact that he opened up to Robert Stone, because we all just want to know what's going on. Because for a minute there, we weren't really fully connecting to him on television, simply because, we really just did not know who he was outside of just being this big guy. So to know that he has a really great, life story in the fact that he survived this thing, that's great. But when he was backstage, steady pushing Robert Stone away, that was frustrating for me, because but then again, healing isn't like a holistic thing. Like when you're healing from something, you have your good days and you have your bad days. So maybe this was just Von Wagner having a bad day, except him yelling the trauma didn't necessarily like do as well. But at the same time, and then what's weird is, that is a word that we do use a lot now that we know exactly what trauma is, because we're more exposed to the idea of mental health, awareness now. Like we know that. But I feel like his story could have legs if, they handle it right. So, yeah.
No, I definitely agree. It could have legs. I just want him to commit to it. I just hate the kind of like starting and stopping of it. But I do agree with what you said. Like there is no timetable on how to deal with that, like, and kind of divulging it. And he's just taking the slower route to unravel it. So you know what? I'm gonna give him. You got 2 more weeks, Vaughn. 2 more weeks. All right. But if you keep yelling the trauma, I might just get over it, because it's just really funny.
And what's so bad about that is it shouldn't be funny, but the way you said it is.
If you watch the way
oh my God.
it's literally, I couldn't like. He just randomly yelled it in the middle of a sentence, and it literally, I couldn't. So we now have the next match. We have Gigi Dolan versus Kiana James. I'm excited about this. I like both of them. I think Kiana's really talented in the ring, and obviously I love Gigi. I think she has such like, her character is so on point. She has such an interesting look about her that's just so marketable. Like I'm so into it. But let's get into the match. So right away we start. I wrote Gigi looks cool. I'm sorry. Let me get. They both lock up. Start trying to gain that control in the first half. Gigi gets Kiana in a waist lock, then gets her on the ground for a quick pin attempt, which Kiana returns. Gigi hit multiple arm drags, then started to kind of work Kiana's arm for most of the match. Kiana rolls out of the ring after Gigi keeps getting the better of her. Gigi then hit a hip attack on the ropes, followed by a mean kick to the face. After that, Gigi tackles Kiana on the outside. That's kind of when we went to a commercial break. Returning back, Kiana keeps going to the outside when Gigi gets the better of her. This is like a reoccurring thing. Kiana then tricked Gigi and was able to get a big boot on Gigi on the outside. After that, Kiana gets Gigi in a chokehold. The crowd is cheering Gigi on, trying to get her to kind of power out of it, which she does, and starts delivering clotheslines to Kiana. Double clotheslines, knocking them both out at one point. They both had the same idea, obviously. Followed by Kiana trying to hit Gigi with her purse. This girl, every time you reach for your purse, it doesn't go your way, Kiana. So maybe stop reaching for your purse. I don't know. After Kiana tried to hit her with the purse, Gigi catches her with a crucifix bomb. Gigi Dolan gets the win. But what happens after is the part that kind of stuck with me. Kiana obviously using something against Gigi, hits her with the 401k to kind of knock her out. Gigi has been talking for weeks about her love of art. So Kiana was like, oh, you love art? There you go. There you go. And dripped it all over her. I'm just like, Gigi cannot catch a break. These girls, every time she gets attacked, it's always something personal. Like, these girls, like, I don't understand it. What were your thoughts on this match and just like the ending as well?
Well, Gigi did a good job. I love her. And honestly, it's just I feel like it's so funny how a lot of people were talking about on social media. There was this discourse in which people were talking about, how Gigi, doesn't move as quickly as other people like in the ring or stuff like that. But my thing is, she has her own pace. And when she does go fast, she can lock in and go fast. But then when she does slow it down and she's really methodical, she can be really methodical. And Gigi did a really good job in this match. And I love the finisher, which she finished Kiana James off with. Like, it was really cool, and I feel like Gigi really is finding her footing, standing on her own 2 feet. What I hated, however, was how Kiana decided to attack her after, as she was celebrating with the purse, and then started pouring paint all over her. I was like, girl, that is mad disrespectful. That was mad disrespectful. It's like you attack her after she won, which makes you a sore loser, but then you make yourself even more of a sore loser by attacking her and covering her with paint, which is something that she says she's passionate about in terms of art and whatever. And it's just like, this low key reminds me of sort of like the argument that people have between the arts and humanities going up against, the methodical scientific type of thing. Because Kiana James is a businesswoman, and she strikes me as the type of person who would kind of look down on sort of the artistic value of things, simply because of the fact that she has been so strategic in getting all her degrees and certifications and all that other stuff. And because she's so business savvy, that she looks down on artistic expression in that way. And I think that bothers me because, it takes a lot of thought, and it takes a lot of, skill in order to execute your artistic vision, in that way. So I feel like because she attacked Gigi so personally, Gigi's going to get her together later on. She's going to attack her and probably hit her where it hurts. Since you hurt my art and you want to make fun of the fact that I'm an artist, fine. I'm going to attack you where it hurts. Like, what if somehow she gets like a business deal and then she winds up taking one of Kiana's businesses? Like, what if something like that happens? Like, you just never know. Like, because this turns so personal, Gigi will get equally as personal on her. So I think this is a really great story to tell.
I love that you said that. Oh my God, that would be so cool if she kind of got her back. I could even think she just pulls up at her office and trashes it with paint, just destroys the entire place, dumps paint everywhere. Oh my God, I could see Kiana being upset right now. But yours as well, like, I think hitting her with her pockets, that's a good one as well. Ooh, now I'm getting all, you just got me all extra excited about this feud.
Yeah, that would be sick.
No, that really would. Ooh, now you got me all ready for it. Oh my gosh. So we now have Tony D in jail still. A nightmare.
He's locked up. They won't let him out.
Joe Coffey. First and foremost, Joe, what is going on with his hair? This the bayang, sir, swoop it over. I'm sick of it. And it was like disheveled too. I'm like, brush her at least. He I don't know. So Joe comes to visit, and he's just like, oh, Stacks was the one that did you dirty. He played him the phone footage of Stacks like, shh, it's a trick. Wow. You know what? And I was called a madman when I said it was Stacks. I said Stacks did it. I said it for weeks, and I was called a madman. And here we are today. Stacks did it. I knew he was. He didn't want to be the underboss. I said it was so fishy that he left the table right when the cops came. Come on. Tony better whoop him. Tony, you got to get him. Don't let him do you like that. That is messed up. Maybe he felt the way about how he did Dimes. Maybe he's getting his lick back for Dimes, for throwing him in the water. But this is going to be really interesting. Like, I wonder how this is going to end. Like, I know a lot of people didn't want that. They wanted to maybe see, you know, Tony and Stacks be a tag team. And I was excited about them maybe getting a tag team run with the titles as well against beating Gallus. But obviously that's thrown out the window. So what were your thoughts on we finally found out that it was Tony D. That was, you know, it was Stacks that was the one who ratted out Tony D.
That broke my heart. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, excuse me? It's just like, Stacks, like, Tony kept you around after he threw dimes in the fishes. Like, he kept you going in the world and rose you up through the ranks and taught you everything you need to know about being a part of the family, you know, fed you when you wanted to be fed, showed you everything that I guess a mafia boss would show somebody, because I don't know how that works. But he showed you everything and taught you everything and helped you grow up. And then you gonna stab him in the back like that? Like, that really broke my heart. And you could tell it broke Tony's heart too. And I'm just like, dang, this is just some messed up stuff. So I know that once Tony does get out, he's going to come for Stacks and he is going to ram his head against a locker, or he might run up on him in that parking lot. So it's so terrible. Like, it's really sad. Like, Tony really doesn't have a family out here, and it's really, oh my God, it's terrible. So yeah. Shay, huh?
I had to say it. Free him until it's backwards.
Him free.
Him
yeah.
free.
I was about to say, how are you on the show and also putting in a comment? I was like, Shay, what's going on?
It's my variant. Exactly. Thank you, Himanshu. It's my variant.
Oh.
Exactly. It's not
okay. I got scared. I was like, girl, I will log out.
It's my other me. So we also had Roxanne Perez backstage answering questions. Blair Davenport had a question to say, what's it like to never feel safe anywhere you go? That's subtle. Then Blair walks up and attacks Roxanne, which prompts for them to finally set Roxanne versus Blair Davenport next week. How do you feel about this? Like, honestly, what... Blair's coming for me. No, Blair's coming for me. That's what that is. Like, I don't know how this is gonna go, because again, as I said last week when I was talking to Kat, I said Roxanne has been in such a, like, her booking's been really off and weird since she lost the title, and she really needs a win. She really needs to get the momentum back. But then Blair losing her first big match, her first big feud since returning, is not good for her either. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword on both sides. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the way I feel about it is just, I feel like if Roxanne fights Blair and then it's like she gets her lick back, I don't necessarily think that would be the end for them, because Blair was out here attacking everybody, including Roxanne. And I know the girl that Roxanne is, she wants to fight not only for her own honor, but for the honor of the other women that she attacked. So I feel like even though they're going to fight next week, it probably won't be the end, and they'll probably up the ante a whole lot more. Like, say for instance, it's like they'll fight next week, and then maybe they'll fight again, and then maybe the last time they fight might be at the Great American Bash or at the last big PLE that NXT might have. So I don't necessarily see them just wrapping it up in just one NXT TV match. So if Blair does lose, then it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because they would have to fight each other again. Like, what if she attacked Roxanne afterward? Or if Roxanne were to lose to Blair, she wouldn't take it sitting down, and they proceed to just keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting. You know, they might get a no holds barred match. They might get, an Extreme Rules match. You know, you just never know. or a parking lot brawl, like Jeffrey said. So yeah, you just never know. But I don't feel like, it's just gonna be a one and done for them.
No, I definitely could see it definitely expanding. Maybe it could be Blair wins the battle and Roxanne wins the war type of deal. We'll see. We have JC Jane running her trap yet again, as she loves to do, complaining to the girls about how Lyra Valkyria pressed her, but she didn't bring it to Lyra. Tatum says JC should tell Lyra that. Tatum basically was like, I don't want to hear you talking about it no more. I want to see you being about it. In so many words. Lyra pops up mid crap talk from JC and pops her. And then she gets in her face and says, I don't play games. Oh my God. Her accent is everything. As JC is on the floor, Rhea Ripley walks up and says, you deserved it because Lyra is a badass. How did you feel about this segment?
JC Jane is the ops, and that's all I have to say. She's the ops, and she got beat. Water is wet. And the fact that Rhea even co-signed, you bad. You are terrible. When Rhea Ripley, who has just been raising all kinds of hell with men and women equally, co-signs you. Like, that's just crazy. But yeah, JC's the op.
T. We also had another schism segment where the dyad was like, what's going on with your boy, Ava? Because he keeps trying to ruin us. And Ava was just like, trust Joe. Girl, why would I do that? I don't know why she would say that. Me, I would have lost it. I would have walked out upset. You have the audacity to say this after the day we've had? What were your thoughts on this little small segment we had right before the main event?
Yeah, they have trust issues. They clearly have trust issues, and they really feel like where Ava's just like, you need to trust Joe, and they're just like, nah, they just don't see it for him right now. So I can totally understand their hesitation about it. But like I said earlier, when we were talking about their family talk, we just got to wait and see what will play out with it. But yeah, I could understand their hesitation.
No, definitely. He hasn't given them a reason to feel otherwise, honestly. But now we have the main event. We have Carmelo Hayes versus the Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin, for the NXT Championship. Yeah. I was excited about this. Just like, and I love the concept of a lot of these, wrestlers who, if they're not having anything currently on the main roster, why not have them, come to NXT and, sprinkle that knowledge over there as well? Why not? And if they happen to win a title in the process, hey, you know what? Whatever. But this was not that night. So, anyways, the Lone Wolf, we get that the Lone Wolf returns. And I'm so glad because honestly, I was so bothered I think it was last week when Carmelo and Baron had like a talk off. And you know what? Baron was really spitting. Carmelo was definitely spitting harder, but Baron was definitely throwing out something. Like, I feel like they were here, but Carmelo was kind of here. Like, like he ate his plate, but he had some crumbs left. Whereas Carmelo's was definitely fully, washed. Like, the plate was already cleaned up. He put it in the dishwasher type thing. You know what I mean? But after Baron said everything he said, he walked off, and then you heard the slot machine start to play. I was over it. I was so bothered. I'm like, you can't say all what you just said, and then when you walk off, you hear the slot machines playing. Change your music, sir. Please stop. So when I heard the new music today, I was like, thank goodness, because that really blew me. Right away, Corbin is using his power, as we knew he would in this match. But Carmelo is using his speed, kind of similar to when we watched Gallus and Malik Blade and Idris Anafi earlier. Like, they used their speed to their advantage, which is basically what Carmelo was doing. Corbin did catch him with a clothesline at some point, though, so that kind of slowed it down. Eventually, Carmelo gets double knees on Corbin, but Corbin rolls out, which prompts Carmelo to dive to the outside onto Corbin. Corbin tries to weaken Carmelo with a hold, then throws him out of the ring. The crowd was chanting Seth's song. I really don't understand the correlation, but this crowd just does what it wants. I really don't. And Corbin throws Carmelo into the crowd area, beating on him behind the little banister. I'm like, okay, why? Hayes catches Corbin with a drop kick and then a step up enziguri, then a springboard clothesline for a pin attempt. Following up, Corbin catches Carmelo with a backbreaker, and then he's taunting the crowd. He literally said, "Hey, little girl, this is for you," and then punched Carmelo in the face. I'm like, oh my god, you meanie. Ugh. And then after Corbin is beating on Carmelo in a bad way. I mean, it was bad. Like for a good portion of that match, Carmelo was taking a beating, and I think it was because he had just faced Finn Balor the day before, and you know he's not 100%. You couldn't possibly. They definitely went out there and did a lot on Monday. Carmelo then started to gain some momentum at some point, and he from the top rope, and he hits a frog splash for a pin attempt. Corbin falls out of the ring. He tried to get back in and then catches a kick to the head followed by the fadeaway. Carmelo went for a DDT, but didn't get Corbin's head completely in it. Like, it's kind of like he didn't catch him fully going back. And, but... Child, they try to get in. Anyway, so Carmelo went for a DDT. He didn't catch Corbin fully. So when he did the pin attempt, he did not get it. Carmelo then gets another roll up after that. Corbin catches him with a backbreaker into a pin attempt yet again. Corbin, when he tried to kind of charge at Carmelo, he hit the steel steps. Carmelo tries to move, but Corbin catches him and powerbombs him onto the announcer's table and then starts hammering him. I mean, it was a lot. Like, I was like, this is like, calm down. Like, what's the beef? After that, Corbin hit a brutal deep six for a pin attempt once they got back into the ring. He then went for end of days, but Carmelo reverses and catches him with a kick to the face, followed by a DDT on the apron from Carmelo. After that, Carmelo hits nothing but net for the win. Carmelo Hayes is the winner. What were your thoughts on this match?
Well, first of all, seeing Rhea come to him made me feel like something bad was going to happen to Carmelo and they was going to mess him out of retaining his title somehow. That really would have messed me up, and I was stressed about that, just like Ventu said. Like, he was really stressed about that as well, so I'm glad I wasn't the only one. So yeah, I really thought something bad was going to happen with that, but I'm glad it didn't, because as much... Now, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Baron Corbin getting back his, lone wolf thing made him lock in and go and be more methodical and more vicious than we have seen him in the past few years. Like, in this match, this is probably one of the best matches he ever had, because he really was locked in and being vicious. Like, he was trying to tear him apart. Like, there was a point where he was sort of like hunched over after he hit a move onto Carmelo, and the camera looked at his face, and he looked like he was a depraved wolf who hadn't ate. Like, that's what he was looking like. And throughout this match, you saw it. Like, he was trying to tear apart his legs. He was beating him in his head and in his face. Like, this was just something we hadn't really seen from him in such a long time. And I was really, really nervous. Like, I was scared. Like, what if we have to live in a world where Baron Corbin beat Carmelo? I would have been devastated. I really would have been devastated. But thankfully that wasn't the case. And Carmelo, pulled through and retained the title. He didn't necessarily beat him, but he did defeat him. And that's something that Carmelo can say. But at the same time, Baron Corbin kind of had his number. And that wasn't something I was expecting from him. But I'm glad that he did, show that he deserves to be taken seriously, as one of the more consistent heels that we've seen in the past, like 10 years. God, it's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, like, Baron Corbin really did perform really well. But however, I do have to say something to your earlier point with him on the microphone. Baron Corbin did not eat him up. And I'm going to say this, and I tried to say it on my show so people could see how serious I was, but then I had technical difficulties. But either way, you could still go back and hear it. Corbin did not eat Carmelo up on that microphone because of the fact that the only thing that Baron Corbin had to brag about was stuff that he did in the past, but then he sort of, revised the history of stuff that he had did in the past as if he hadn't lost multiple times. And the only thing he had to fall back on was the fact that, while he was happy Corbin, he was able, to get a $1 million house for his family and driving these fancy cars or whatever. And that's cute. But it's like I said on my show, at the end of the day, when it comes to WWE, we don't remember, what type of cars you drove or what type of house you had and all of that. We remember your accomplishments in that ring and what you accomplished in terms of, accolades. You won Money in the Bank and you lost that. You did win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, but outside of that, that was fine. And you talked about how you participated in WrestleMania main events, but at the same time, you weren't ever in the main event of WrestleMania. And when you were at WrestleMania in Texas last year, you got beat by Drew McIntyre. So we're not going to sit here and pretend like you was out here on the main roster, burning stuff down and winning everything, left and right. We're not going to do that. And the fact that you came in there talking trash at Carmelo, who has been working his way up, won every singles title that a man can hold in NXT, which is something he was never able to do, never able to be NXT champion at 26 years old. It's just, sir, let's not get delusional. You were able, to grow and get into different iterations of your heel stuff. And that is to be commended because it's hard for people to evolve on television. And he did do that. And I will give credit where credit is due. You made some moves for your life and you're living comfortably. That's fantastic. That's what we all want as humans. That's basic human needs. And that's great. But sweetheart, you're not it. Carmelo is him. Carmelo is him. And you may have beat him down now. And you took advantage of the fact that he wrestled like on Raw against a Finn Balor, who is out here acting crazy or whatever. But let's be serious. Let's be serious. When it comes to conversations and when it comes to accolades, he doesn't have it. So for those out there who thought that Baron Corbin ate him up just because, you said something to him and then you dropped the mic and threw the mic at him, that's little in comparison to the way Carmelo mentioned the fact that you got cut from the NFL at the age of 26. No. And then let's not talk about the fact that the reason why you are on NXT is because JBL dropped you. And also because you're reaping the karma of calling people in Alabama rednecks in January. Let's talk about that. Because when I saw that live, I had a whole problem with it. And ever since then, your career was on a downward spiral. You lost to Cameron Grimes in like 4 seconds with the cave-in on SmackDown. And you attacked him. But then after that, nothing else came from that. And then you had to go to NXT because you knew that was the only place where you hadn't embarrassed yourself at. Be real. There's thems and then there's him. Carmelo is him and you are a them. That's it.
Well, speaking of eating somebody up, oh my God. Oh, it was so good. I'm going to make sure we get that. I'm going to make sure we clip that. So, with that being said, I don't know how to follow up that. But with that being said, that is NXT Gold Rush Week 2. This is the final week. Next week, it'll be, I think July 4th is on NXT Tuesday, right? So, that's going to be a little special episode. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. This was actually a really fun episode. I enjoyed watching it, and I also enjoyed the show. Like, the energy was just so live. Thank you to everyone in the comments. You guys added to it so much, and this was just so much fun. But where can we find you, amazingness? Where can we find you? Let us know all your stuff.
Well, thank you for having me here again. And of course, I know you and Katrina have your back and forth and your banter, but I appreciate being back on here. You can find and follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. Listen to my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, if you want to hear more of my opinions about wrestling as a whole. Listen to it everywhere you get your podcast. And also you can subscribe on YouTube as well with The Hardy Wrestling Podcast. And of course, you can catch me tomorrow on the SmackDown after show with Dreon Santana, where we're going to talk about the go home SmackDown before Money in the Bank. It's a lot going on. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was actually so much fun. I really had a good time. Honestly, I miss you all the time. So I was happy you were here.
Yeah.
And you can find me, the Big Pop Theory podcast, every Monday, a new episode on Spotify. We're actually working on getting it on more platforms soon, so definitely look out for that. You can also catch me right back here every Thursday for Women's Wrestling Talk, 5 p.m. for Women's Wrestling Army, and then at 7 p.m. again right here talking about NXT. Sometimes you might see this beautiful face, or you might see Katrina as well, so you never know. Pop in. And you can find me at Shay Sawyer _ on most platforms. If you guys want to just chat about wrestling, I'm always willing to talk about wrestling. It's fine. With that being said, that is NXT, and this is Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. I'll be doing the British voice next week, so be ready for it. That's it, guys. Have a good night.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.